Hello everyone, my name is Leslie Velasco and today I'm going to be talking about the unconscious mind and how it rules our everyday behavior. So to start off, a major part of what we do in our everyday routine happens automatically, and this is essentially the unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind is constantly shaping our emotions, reactions, and decisions. And there's a TED Talk that was shared in one of the modules. I highly recommend going back to watch it. And it shows how our behavior is driven by hidden mental processes. So what is the unconscious mind? The unconscious mind is essentially mental activity that happens automatically outside of our control and awareness. Our emotions, memories, and the way we see ourselves and those around us is heavily influenced by the unconscious mind. And Sigmund Freud discovered the theory behind the unconscious mind. So I went ahead and shared this picture. It shows the conscious level, the preconscious level, and then the unconscious level, which is typically what we keep to ourselves. We're not really comfortable sharing with other people. There's 3 types of unconscious processes. There's the implicit memory, which is essentially the long-term memory that has an influence on how we do certain tasks, such as playing an instrument, riding a bike. There's priming, which is something that we see or hear that can influence how we react later on. And then there's emotional and relationship patterns, which is, essentially past relationship experiences that shape how we respond now to people that we, come into contact with. What research shows, so research has shown that, what we think is intentional behavior is actually automatic behavior. Neuroscience such as fMRIs scan our brain and show that certain areas, light up when we make decisions that we aren't even aware of sometimes. And then it also explains that old experiences and relationships continue shaping how we act today. How does it affect daily life? Well, it affects first impressions, quick reactions, emotional responses, how we treat people, and it even helps with creativity and problem solving. So how does it shape how we see the world? It, helps us get a better picture in certain things such as environments, objects, and facial recognition, how we treat other people that we come into contact with on an everyday basis, and as well as a lot of, our social behavior starts unconsciously as well. How it affects our cognition. So it affects our attention, memory, and decision making. It's also important to note that the unconscious mind can sometimes lead us to shortcuts, and sometimes these shortcuts, cause mistakes or misunderstandings, but it does motivate us in ways that we don't always realize, and that could be, good. The connection that I have to the field of interest that I have is marriage and family therapy. So the unconscious pattern shape how people communicate and relate in their relationships. Old emotional wounds and family dynamics often drive behavior without people even realizing it. Understanding unconscious processes can also help therapists recognize patterns, which is very important. And in the end, it could really help, with better communication, better conflict resolution, and just overall emotional awareness. Why does this topic interest me? Well, I'm very interested in this topic because it suggests that we're not always in control. There's always a part of us, that's a lot deeper, that is, constantly, making decisions and helping us, think the way that we think and do things the way that we do. And just in general, it made me think about how many of our choices aren't really, ours. If you think about it, it's not really our conscious, it's actually our unconscious taking over. And then what I learned, our unconscious mind is constantly active. Old experiences can influence how we act today. And then understanding all of this can improve communication and reduce bias. Why others should learn this information? You can become more self-aware, better decision-making, and very helpful for careers involving working with people. Thank you so much for listening to my, PowerPoint, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.